Hey, if you are feeling super frustrated or just like nothing's working and you want to give up on your manifestation, or maybe you don't want to give up on your manifestation, but you feel like you do. And so you're just like, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I doing wrong? Here is one major thing that could be going on with you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am still recovering from being sick. I am feeling back to my normal self, but if I sound a little off, then yeah, still going through the post symptoms of, goodness gracious, whatever flu was going around. So let's back up. If you are feeling frustrated because your manifestation is not coming through, let's go back to square one. What got you wanting this manifestation, this goal to begin with? You were tired of your circumstances, right? Something was going on in your life, whatever area you're trying to manifest in, or maybe it's multiple areas, maybe it's every area. You were not happy with your current circumstances. Maybe a cycle was repeating, something was looping, and you were tired of it, right? Like you reached a breaking point. You're like, I don't want this undesirable thing anymore. So you go online and you learn about manifestation, right? And so you hear all these different techniques, you listen to all these different coaches, and if you're following, I was going to say the proper path, but just sort of like the best path, I guess, that I personally believe in, you're probably addressing your wounded beliefs. So you're finding your core wounding, you're finding your negative beliefs, and you're doing affirmations to help heal them. You're scripting, you're visualizing, you're living in the end, you're doing all these different exercises to really put you into the state of having your wish fulfilled, right? So then you get frustrated because you're doing all these things. You're working on this wounding. Maybe you can really feel a huge shift within yourself. Maybe you've been doing, healing work, and you can really feel that these wounds are healing, and you're just like, where is it? I don't understand. Like, I've done all this work. So I want you to ask yourself this question. Is your life on hold, waiting for your manifestation to then come through? And maybe you haven't stopped doing absolutely everything in your life, right? So maybe you're like, of course it's not on hold, but I don't mean that you suddenly just stop doing everything, or that you're like actively fighting to not do things. People are like, please do this, and you're like, no, I just have to wait for my manifestation to come through. It can be a lot more subtle than that. It can be as simple as you kind of just treading water in your life. So I am going to go over some different examples, one through like finances, career, work, money type things, and then two through relationships. Specifically, we'll focus on romantic relationships as the example. So this is what it could look like if you are treading water in your life, waiting for your manifestation to come in. And before I get into these examples, I'm just going to sort of give you the answer here. The answer is that if you are not fully embodying this you that you are becoming, the you that has your desire, it's not going to be reflected, right? It's not going to be reflected because we look so much to our 3D, and then we react to it, but we are creating our 3D. It is a reflection of our internal state. So if we just keep focusing on our internal state, we don't really need to worry about what's going on in the 3D because it's going to catch up. So again, before I deep dive into these examples, just a quick overview. One thing could be maybe you're trying to manifest more money and you're kind of hearing or seeing little bits of inspiration, or maybe people are talking to you about like, well, why did you ever stop, doing this thing? You should get back into this. Maybe people are here and they're suggesting new career paths for you, or new hobbies that could potentially bring in income, or just new hobbies that you don't think could bring in income. Maybe you're hearing these things and you're like, no, I'm not gonna put time and energy into these other avenues because I could make more money doing the things that I'm doing right now. So why would I go put energy into that? I'm just going to sit here and wait for my manifestation to come in. Maybe you're trying to manifest a new level of relationship that you've never experienced before, and nobody's coming in for you, and or you're fixated on your SP, you really want it to work out with this one person and just nothing's happening, and you're not entertaining any other people. Maybe people are asking you on dates and you're just like, no, I'm just going to sit here and wait for my manifestation to come in. So these are the things that I'm going to deep dive into, but first I want to again back up and go over embodiment. So you have to go out and embody the thing you want. So I'm going to break it down. So we manifest things because we create manifestation goals because we want to feel a certain way, right? We want to be in a certain state. You don't manifest more money just to have more money. There's a feeling that you want to feel. And typically that's like security, feeling financial security, financial freedom. So, if I have more money, then I have easier access to the things I want. Maybe I want more items, luxury items, travel experiences period. Maybe you want to go see all the concerts, or there's something that you want to obtain that you believe is just easier with the money. So my brain, if I'm wanting more money, is going to be like, oh, okay, well, I can go on those trips, or I can have those clothes or that car once I have more money, which is the logical way of thinking. But what it's saying is, I do not have money, so I do not have those objects. That is what is being reinforced. So if we want to then manifest these things that our brain is recognizing we lack, we need to become the energetic match or the energetic embodiment of the state of having that, so that it can be reflected out, right? Because if I'm just saying, oh, okay, well, like I want to be the me that feels amazing traveling, and I feel, financially secure, and I just feel like I'm so free in life, I'm going to sit here and wait for the money to come in. But I'm sitting in my current state, which is the lack. So if I keep sitting in I can't go be that person because I don't have the money, then do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're not that person. And so those experiences aren't going to come in because your reality is a reflection of your current state. And if your current state is, well, I'm waiting to be that version of me, it doesn't work like that. You think, oh, well, if the money just came in, then I could be that version of me. Or if SP just texted me or asked me on that date or would just propose to me, then I'd be that version of me. It unfortunately doesn't work like that. We have to be that version of us first, and then the 3D responds. So to keep going with this example of, finances, you could realize that you don't really need money to manifest the experiences you want. I think I talked about this in other videos where I personally have done a lot of exploration of that. And when my friends come to me saying, Alex, what can I do to manifest more money? I ask them, why do you want more money? And they usually tell me, I want to feel financially secure, or I'm afraid that I just can't afford, the living situation that I want, or I want to be able to travel, or I want to be able to take care of, this person or my pets better, or, whatever it is. And I really push them to look at, what is that feeling that you're trying to achieve? What is more money going to, what state will that bring to you? Will you feel secure? Will you feel more at ease in life? Will you feel more supported? And then I encourage them to really become someone that knows that they're supported, and secure no matter what their finances are, And I think that practicing manifesting things without needing money for them is a really good way to see that you are taken care of no matter what, and that you do not need money. You can have it, of course, but you don't need it. And I've done a lot of practicing of that, where I've been practicing manifesting literally the bare minimum financially, but I've been manifesting all the experiences I want, and I haven't worried about money so much, and it's really taken the pressure off, because I had a very negative relationship with money. So in taking the pressure off of needing the money, and now I can see that no matter what, I can manifest anything I want, and I don't necessarily need money. I I wanted to go to this concert, And my friend was like, hey, I'm buying 2 tickets to this concert. Her husband has like crazy work hours, and she's like, there's like a 0.005% chance that he's going to be able to go to the concert with me, but there's a very, very large percent chance that he will not, and I would like to go with you. So I'm buying these 2 tickets and you can just come with me. Like these things happen. I know I've told stories about like I wanted a Roomba but I didn't want to pay for one, and whenever I would vacuum I would just imagine that I didn't have to do the vacuuming and a Roomba was doing it, and I just knew one day someday I would end up with a Roomba. I didn't think too much of it, and then like I don't even know how much longer because I didn't care. One of my acquaintance like friends was just like, hey, do you want this Roomba we never use? Just gave me a Roomba. And then the same thing happened with an Instapot. I was like, oh, these are nice. Like I used someone else's and I was like, wow, this is really convenient, but I just had no desire to buy one for myself, but I wanted one, and I was like, I'll have one eventually. One of my friends was like, hey, someone gave me, or like bought them because they got married, a brand new Instapot, and she's like, we just don't really have that much space in our house and we're probably not going to use it. Do you want it for free? Yes, I do. Now I have an Instapot. So these things can happen. I've talked about how I manifest food given to me all the time. Like people just give me their leftovers. Friends will meet up with me and just be like, hey, I have all these like, fruits and vegetables in my car for snacks, but I'm not going to eat them. Do you want them? I've ended up with like a whole bin of like kiwis, I think it was. Like anything is possible. You do not need money. And when you take the pressure off money, you can see that you are supported no matter what. So that's my little rant about that. I'm going to move on. So let's take a look at the example with, oh my goodness, my nose is itchy. Not that. That's not the example. Relationships. So some common wounded beliefs that we have around relationships are like not being chosen, not being worthy, not being prioritized. So if you're sitting around doing the healing, trying to feel worthy and prioritized and, what's the other thing I said? Chosen. And you're doing the inner healing and you're saying the affirmations, it's like the healing happens within, but then we do have to create this metamorphosis of it actualizing in the 3D self that we are in control of, like our body, our, everyday reality. We go out and we become the first ripple of change. So if I am just doing all the internal work to shift into the version of me that is worthy, chosen, feels prioritized, but I'm not actually putting it out into my 3D. I'm not showing up as that version of me. Maybe, I'm just letting things slide with a friend and I'm not expressing the way that something they're doing is making me feel. Maybe at work, I'm not setting clear boundaries or voicing my opinion as much. And I don't mean in confrontational ways, but it might feel confrontational depending on your past. But it's like you really have to go out and shift yourself into being this new version of you. Like you have to take the steps and practice being this version of you. So start having those conversations. And these things will comment. You might be like, okay, but Alex, like, how do I start practicing these things? They will come to you. So this is where like inspired action, I almost said accidents, inspired action and the bridge of incidents comes into play. Now, I do this where when I'm like, okay, I have to become this version of me and then I'll get this thing eventually. I like to think that the bridge of incidents is going to look very clearly, like I can see across the bridge and see that I'm getting my manifestation, but oftentimes it's not. So I am going to give you my personal examples of exactly what I'm talking about, what I've been going through, and realizing that I was just sitting and not actually embodying these things. So, sorry, for the first example, I'm going to go back to the financial status, and it's like, I'm working on, I've healed my relationship with money, and so now I'd like to manifest more of it, and my like main career is a fixed income. There is no wiggle room with it, and the pay is not going to change, right? But I really love it, and I feel that I'm exactly where I need to be, and I just absolutely adore my job. And then I have this YouTube channel. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, well, the YouTube channel could bring in extra finances. So if I'm working on manifesting more money, it should just come through my YouTube channel. So what I've been ignoring is, you guys don't know me this well, but I've been an artist my whole life. I've had different relationships with my art off and on through the years, depending on what I'm going through. And in the recent years, I have not really found a regular practice with it. And it's been something that I've explored off and on, and I just keep dropping it. But it was something that I struggled with in terms of my self-worth and my value in myself. It was reflecting negatively out into how I viewed my art, but other people were always appreciating it. So interestingly enough, in the recent weeks, people have been bringing up my art. They're like, you should start doing this again. I would love to hire you to do this. And, like these things are coming up, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, like I think I should just focus on my YouTube and, just let the money come in through there. But I'm ignoring the fact that inspired things are showing up for me, and this repetition of me getting back into practicing my art and that people want to commission me for it keep coming up, and I'm just kind of ignoring it and pushing it to the side. So this is now something I am pursuing and actually taking the action to walk into again, because this is clearly my inspired bridge of incidents. And, this is something that I have not walked down the path of truly due to wounding. So obviously, as I'm healing myself, this is a path that needs to be explored. So that's my example in terms of finances. Obviously I'm in the middle of the path, so I can't, immediately say like, oh, it worked and this is it. But this is an example of me treading water and being like, oh, well, it could just come in this way, so I'm going to ignore these very clear signs that I need to be exploring this path of getting back into my art. So I'm going to be doing that. Now with relationships, I've been talking about how my core wounding was around not being chosen and not feeling that people show up for me. So I've been really working on healing that. And then one thing I noticed was I kept feeling like I needed to just voice my emotions a little bit more in my daily life. And now, obviously, like, when you think of healing your relationship issues, it's because you want, an SP, you want a romantic relationship. And of course, like, I have desires around that in my life, and that's a big focus of what I'm working towards. But these inspired actions were coming through in just very normal, everyday situations with like friends and coworkers and things at work. And like I said in my earlier, it's not necessarily like these big confrontations or anything. It's not that at all for me. Everyone's path is different though, depending on where you're at. But I just realized that I just was not expressing little things because I felt that people wouldn't show up the way I wanted. And it was very simple things. I was like, well, I just won't say this because it's probably not going to work out the way I wanted. And in me not expressing that, I am not giving people the chance to show up for me. And as I have started just, expressing myself a little bit more and not worrying that I'm asking too much or being a burden, everything is happening very easily, and I am starting to become that version of me that is chosen, and I am seeing the reflections start to come in my work life. And that's really exciting. Then also I want to talk about dating just a little bit. So because, SPs are a big deal for a lot of us. So if you have never felt chosen, worthy enough in your life, you need to drop the focus on maybe one person. If they're not coming through and there's no movement, drop the focus on them and really focus on just feeling worthy and chosen in other areas of your life. Maybe date people casually, and I don't mean, when I say date people casually, I mean literally just get to know people, get to know different people and go on dates. That's it. Build relationships with them. I'm not talking about like, casual friends with benefits kind of thing. I'm not talking about that type of casual. I literally just mean like take the importance off of, going on dates and exploring what it's like to be dating, and watch how your dating life can transform, because you need to experience the thing that you're trying to manifest, right? It's going to help things come through a lot easier. And if you don't know what it feels like to feel chosen, you don't know what it feels like to be the priority, then you need to go explore areas of your life and see it show up. And if you have blocks, or if you're seeing it show up in your work life, you're seeing people start to show up and prioritize you in your friend circle, but you're still stuck with, the SP. See if you can feel comfortable with just, like dating, talking to people on dating apps, going out for coffee with someone, getting to know them, and let your reality start to flow in. So to wrap it up, you need to go out and become the person. And this might, I'm going to go back to the relationship thing. This might feel like you're not actually, like, how am I supposed to get SP if I'm dating these other people? You need to go out and experience what it feels like to be that version of you, so that you have that understanding of what it should feel like with your SP. And you don't necessarily need to date other people for that to happen. This is just an example, that the core message here is to not ignore what inspired action is coming through just because it doesn't look like a clear, direct bridge of events. So I feel like I don't need to explain that more, because I gave you guys my personal experiences with, like the art thing. And this video is getting longer, and that's good, because I really wanted to talk to you about it, and I wanted to get all this information in there. It looked like my mic cut out, so what I said, if it did, was that, this video is a bit long, but I really wanted to get all this information in there, because this can be a huge reason that things are not moving forward for you. So if you feel like you're just sitting here and you're like, but I will become this person when these things come in, be really honest with yourself about that. And then go out and show up as that person in areas of your life that you feel comfortable with. Right? So if you don't feel comfortable going out on coffee dates, or, like casually dating, then go do this with your friends. Find an area of your life where you can have these things start showing up, and you can see this version of yourself, because you need to, you do all the internal work, and then you need to have that metamorphosis, like the caterpillar needs to form the cocoon and come out the butterfly. So you need to go metamorphosize. And on that, I am going to leave things there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I absolutely love hearing from all of you. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe if you're not already and you want to hear more, turn the bell on if you want to be notified when I post videos. Should be getting back to a regular schedule now that I'm feeling better, even if I don't sound better. I promise I am. And thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you in the next video.